it's Gwen and I am back with another scrapbooking process video. Today's share is episode 12 in the Maggie Holmes Monday series that I have been doing. And today's share is super inspired by the lovely and fabulous Janet from RTS Scrapbooking. So for today's share, I'm going to be using the carousel collection and I'm going to document this picture here of Caitlin. It was taken a few years ago when we went to Disneyland. Yeah, a trip of a lifetime for us, definitely, coming all the way from Australia. It's such a long way to come, and I have a stack of these photos and I am going to be documenting a few of them in coming episodes, so look out for that. So I have got a little bit of a plan and a little bit of a start, but first I wanted to show you some stitching. So this is my machine here. It's a Janome. It is many, many years old. I want to say 10, maybe more, actually probably more. My mother got it for me actually as a gift from a garage sale, so it was never even new for me. It's a very basic machine. It does do some different styles of stitches, so zigzags and a few basic patterns, but it's not electronic in any way. It's a very fancy free basic machine, but it's really great for what I use it for. I do have another one that I use for sewing, so this is actually just my scrapbooking sewing machine. So I'm just going to run a straight stitch all around the edge of the layout base, and then I'm also going to add a straight stitch all the way around my photo here. I have already backed it on some pattern paper, but you don't have to. Sometimes if I'm not sure where my layout's going to go or I don't have a plan for it, I will just sew straight onto the photo, so no backing, no background at all, and you can absolutely then add your photo mat after you've stitched. Okay, so onto the plan for the page. As you can see there, I have created my base using that very creamy white pattern paper. And then I had a bunch of these arrows that I had previously fussy cut, so they were just sitting in a little baggie, and I decided to pull them out, and I'm going to use them as a bit of a base for the embellishment clusters and my photo. So I have gone ahead and sort of got them into a position where I kind of feel that they will go, and I do just want to make sure though that they're centered top to bottom and left to right. So I do fuss with that for a little bit with my T-square ruler. And then I just take my ATG, as you can see there, and just tack them down just enough to make them stick. And you'll see why I'm doing it this way in a moment. So all I really want to do is make sure that they're not going to go anywhere in the short term. So I am going to take a little bit of care here and just make sure that everything is exactly where I want it to be, because in a moment I'm going to take this whole background piece and run this through my sewing machine. So I'm going to go along the center lines of the arrows there, and you'll see in a moment it adds this really lovely bit of texture to the page. And I really felt that once I was placing my photos and that chipboard piece there that I'm going to include, I found when I put them first on the background that it was all a bit plain, and I want this to be a really fun layout. We're in Disneyland, it's a fun day. Yeah, so I want there to be a bit of color for this page. Okay, so with that all done, it's now time to play with some embellishments. So there was a fair bit of auditioning that happened with this page. So while I do all of that, I wanted to mention a couple of things. First, this page was actually inspired by Janet at RTS. If you don't know Janet, be sure to look her up because she is amazing. There's just, she's got some YouTube videos, but they're older ones. She has gone over now to Patreon, and her Patreon is $1 a month for everybody, and there is so much information. She goes through a lot of supply. She talks a lot about supply. She talks about craft room storage. She talks about products, and she creates a lot. And in fact, that's what started this whole layout really, because she had done a bit of a Maggie Holmes series, And in that, she sort of went through how, in particular, this collection, a lot of them, but this one, were really great for Disney photos. And as soon as she said it, I was like, "Oh, well, duh, of course, why didn't I think of that?" I have so many Disney photos, and this carousel collection, I've used a lot of the papers and the more generic elements in the line, but I have got a lot of little pieces like this chipboard zebra that were kicking around, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never ever going to get to use these things. When am I going to put a zebra on my page? Well, thanks to Janet, thank you, Janet. Disney. And once I started looking and seeing the collection from a Disney angle, I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many elements in this that are perfect for Disney photos. So I then went, okay, I've got to pull out all my Disney photos, and I am going to get a couple of layouts done in the next few weeks, which will be really fun. I'm super excited about it because, excuse me, and these Disney photos seem like a lifetime ago. It was a few years back, but just with everything that has happened, at the time it was a dream come true, absolutely. But now it just feels like it even more so, just not only because it's just so far, but the environment that we're in right now, I really don't know when I would get back there. So it's been really nice to get these photos out of their boxes and onto a couple of layouts. So I'm looking forward to sharing them with you over the coming weeks. Now, as I've been chatting away, have you been noticing how much fussing has happened with those black and white floral pieces? Oh my goodness, I auditioned them in so many places, it's crazy. It was even at this point that I thought, oh, it's those little bits on the end that are bothering me. I'll chop them off and everything will be better. And then I auditioned them some more and they still just weren't right. And I don't know why I was so keen to get them on the page. I don't know why it took me so long to decide that they just weren't going to fit and that they would have to go on to something else. It's really strange. Yeah, so spoiler alert, they don't end up staying. They end up going. In the end, it just takes me an awfully long time to figure that part out. I do find a bunch of fun elements though, and I am so glad to have these on the page, including that little peach element there that says, "Every moment is magical when I'm with you." And there's the cute little flag. The kite there has been fussy cut from the pattern paper that you saw right at the beginning of the video. And I hadn't mentioned yet, and I wanted to tell you about this photo. So this photo is Caitlin outside of Minnie Mouse's house. And this was one of those moments that I will never ever forget. I love Minnie Mouse, and as a little girl, especially like her age, I always wanted to meet Minnie Mouse. And for my parents and my family, the whole idea of going to America to go to Disneyland was just like, it would be the same as saying I want to go to the moon. It was just so unlikely, like so unrealistic, just given the circumstances of my family when I was younger. And I remember standing outside in the line at Minnie Mouse's house and just going like, oh my goodness, I have waited. At the time, I think I was maybe 35, 36-ish. I've waited 30 years to meet Minnie Mouse. And to be able to give that gift to my daughter was just really, really special. And yeah, I cried when I met her, and I remember her going, "Oh my gosh, Mum, why are you crying?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't understand. I've waited my whole life to meet Minnie Mouse." So there is a photo of Caitlin, myself, and Minnie Mouse, which I have not scrapbooked yet. So I'll have to. I think that one's going to be a bit tricky because it just means so much to me, which is hilarious. I know. Anyway, sidetracked. That's the story of the photo. Oh my gosh, so sidetracked today. Okay, back to the layout. So clusters. For this page, I'm really just thinking about top right hand corner. and then your eye getting led down obviously to the giraffe and the photo in that middle section, and then down towards the lower part of the page. And that's where I thought it might be best to pop my title, which I'm going to use these puffy stickers. So they were just from the puffy sticker pack from the collection, and they just say think happy, and I thought, no, that's fun, that works. And I think all of the other elements are from the collection, maybe except for a couple of yellow pieces that you'll see here in a minute. And the reason I end up adding those is because there's a little tiny bit of yellow in that think happy title, especially in the K and in the Y. I hope you can see that there. And for me, because there was only those two parts of yellow, bits of yellow, I kind of felt like it didn't fit as well as it could. So I did go digging through my stash. These are Maggie, and they're from the little crate box that I have that's called Maggie Old Stuff. So who knows? Older supplies from who knows what collection. So I do just pop in a couple of pieces of yellow just to make it a bit more balanced and make it look like the yellow in that title was meant to be there. The page is really coming together now, and I am going to finish it off with a couple of these typed sentiments. I believe they're from the Open Book collection. So thanks for being here, my creative friends. If you like the way that I scrapbook or the way that I chat about the way that I scrapbook, I'd love it if you gave this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so that you can see more videos just like this one. I'll leave a link to the Maggie Holmes Monday series if you haven't seen any of the previous videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye!